Drama continues to unfold in connection to the trial against rapper Young Thug and his co-defendants when a Fulton County jailer finds herself on the opposite side of the uniform after she was arrested last week for taking nearly $20,000 in bribes from inmates, including from the family of YSL defendant Marquavious Huey. 31-year-old Karmen Bailey was arrested on October 4th as investigators say she took money in bribes for delivering contraband, including pills, to inmates. Now she's charged with 4 counts of violation of oath, 2 counts of obtaining/procuring and giving inmates prohibited items without authorization, as well as 2 counts of bribery. According to court documents, the case first began to unravel in May when jail officials began receiving reports of her involvement in smuggling contraband to several inmates. Then in August, Bailey reportedly consented to a search of her phone, and investigators found more clues, including evidence of more than 20 financial transactions totaling $17,000. That money came from inmates' family and associates to deliver the prohibited contraband to the jail. Authorities were able to trace the payments to Marquavious Huey's sister and his mother. Officials say on May 6th, Bailey accepted $500 through Apple Pay from Huey's mother, Melissa Huey. Then in July, Bailey allegedly took $1,000 from Jeremiah Huey, Marquavious' sister. And in return, Bailey allowed Huey to move to restricted areas of the jail where he could allegedly sell drugs to other inmates. According to documents, surveillance video from July 13th allegedly showed Bailey escorting Huey and another inmate into a restricted area where they delivered 2 packages. Authorities believe those packages contained cell phones and drugs, and the packages were handed off to 2 other inmates. Then in another instance, Bailey was allegedly caught on camera using a styrofoam meal tray to hide contraband and was seen delivering the tray to another inmate's cell. Bailey's arrest had a domino effect. Huey's sister and mom were arrested on bribery charges. Marquavious Huey and another inmate are now facing an additional charge of items prohibited for possession by inmates. We cover a lot of crazy crime stories here at Law and Crime, and part of the reason we're able to keep bringing you these types of stories is because of our great sponsors. So I want to really quickly thank Upside for sponsoring us. And if you're wondering what's Upside, well, it's a free app that gets you cash back on daily essentials like gas and groceries. And it's actual real cash back too. The money appears in your Upside app that you can transfer straight into your bank account. So here's what you do. You download the Upside app, then claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. I went to 7-Eleven, got some snacks, some candy, used the app, and honestly, it's super simple. You can use the app at places like Shell, Exxon, and fast food favorites like Taco Bell, and that's just to name a few. So to find out how much you could earn, download Upside or click the link in the description and use our promo code LCNews to get 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. Again, that's promo code LCNews for an extra 25 cents back on your first gallon of gas. The YSL defendant, also known as Quay, faces a whopping 19 charges related to the YSL RICO trial, including charges of conspiracy to violate Georgia's RICO Act, armed robbery, aggravated assault, and that's just scratching the surface. Huey was named alongside Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, in a stunning 56-count RICO indictment. Prosecutors claim YSL is a criminal street gang responsible for several crimes in the Atlanta area. Meanwhile, the defense attorneys claim YSL is nothing more than a record label. They also have repeatedly raised concerns about the length of trial, which they say could go on for years. Jury selection lasted longer than any other trial in Georgia's history, and the trial has seen its fair share of delays. Initially, the prosecution planned to call 700 witnesses, which they slimmed down to 200 witnesses, not including witnesses for the defense. Now, more than 2 years later, after their arrest, 3 judges later, and as we approach a year after opening statements began, the trial continues slowly chugging along, but seemingly with no end in sight. We have a lot to break down, so I actually want to bring on a great guest to discuss this with me further, and that's criminal defense attorney Lawrence Zimmerman. Lawrence, it's so great to have you on. What went through your mind when you saw a former Fulton County jailer arrested for taking bribes from inmates?
What went through my mind?
Yeah.
Just another day in the YSL trial in Fulton County. I mean, I wasn't shocked, surprised, didn't even stop me in my tracks. I was like, oh, okay.
And would you say that's something kind of common specifically in Fulton County, in the Fulton County jail?
Seems like it's been pretty common the last few years for sure. Sheriff Labatt has not been doing a very good job of getting that jail, protecting the people that are there from dying. Had a lot of deaths, been a lot of problems, drugs, cell phones. It's a bad place. You could get arrested for misdemeanor and die there overnight. It's sick.
And what was your reaction to hearing some of those bribes were allegedly from the mom and sister of YSL defendant Marquavious Huey, aka Quay?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't. Maybe everybody else may be shocked, but I'm not. I mean, seeing what has happened so far in this trial the last few years, the way the first judge ran the case, the recklessness, the way the accused, the people accused of this, the defendants have been treated, and then there's been shenanigans in the court with deputies searching people left and right, finding. It's just, I'm not shocked. It's just more of the same. And then you know what? It's embarrassing to be a practicing lawyer in Fulton County. I mean, it's not the main place. I go all over the state and all over the country, but it is embarrassing. This shouldn't be happening at all. You should have good people protecting the people that are accused of a crime, that are in the jail. They shouldn't be allowed to have payoffs. It's, when you go to the Fulton County jail, when I go, I can't bring a briefcase. I can barely bring a notebook. I have to leave everything in my car. Can't wear my smartwatch. Can't have a phone. And I've watched the deputies have to go through the same thing. The deputies have to be screened. I mean, it's the only jail that I know. I mean, I'm sure there's others, but most jails don't screen their deputies like that, where they're bringing cell phones and drugs into the jail. I mean, it's crazy. It's out of control. That jail needs to be shut down.
In your opinion, where do you think kind of that breakdown was where maybe Marquavious may have allegedly, tasked Karmen to kind of do this for him? Or do you think it was the mom and the sister that first started this? Where do you kind of think that breakdown was from her doing her job to her then allegedly taking these bribes from the inmates?
It's hard to speculate. I mean, I don't know how it started, or maybe the deputy herself approached them. I mean, maybe she was shopping and saying, "You want to pay me, some extra money, and here's what I can do for you." It's hard to say, but either way, it shouldn't have happened. She's law enforcement. She's sworn an oath, and she violated it for some money. And again, the sheriff is picking the wrong people to work at the jail. And look, it's not a job a lot of people want to have, but maybe they should pay better. There's a lot of things. Maybe they should have a better jail. Maybe they should renovate the jail like they've been promising for years to have money to do. It is just a mess. And it's just more of the same in Fulton County, the laughing stock of the country. It's a sad place. It's a death trap. And, they have deputies who don't want to uphold the law. And the old saying goes, inmates run the asylum. That's what's going on here.
And given that Marquavious is already on trial right now and during the time the bribes were taken, will these new allegations and charges have any effect on him since he's on trial?
No, they shouldn't have anything to do with this trial. It's a separate and distinct act. It has nothing to do with it. It's not going to come in. Yeah, the prior judge, Judge Glanville, would probably have let it in because he obviously, as we know, he didn't care about anything, especially the law. Judge Whitaker obviously is a lot smarter and a lot fairer than the past judge. It's not going to come as much as that crazy prosecutor Adrian Love wants to try to get it in.
The amount of money that Karmen Bailey received was pretty tremendous, $17,000 according to authorities. Does that amount of money come as a shock to you? And do you think in their minds they didn't think that they would get caught?
Well, we answer your last question first. Most people who commit crimes don't think they're going to get caught, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it, right? To your first question about the money, I mean, I don't know what her debts are. Maybe she's $17,000 to pay off her car. I don't know where that number came from. It wasn't like, it wasn't like 5, 10, 15. It was 17. Who knows who she owed money to or what she needed.
And you yourself kind of have ties-ish to the YSL case. You previously represented Young Thug's brother at his first bond hearing. What's been your reaction to the trial overall so far, especially the pace of the trial?
What would be a really good word to describe my reaction? How about insane? How about disgusting? How about crazy? This is an out of control trial. I put the most of the blame at the first judge. The district attorney's office also didn't need to make this trial last this amount of time. They could whittle it down. They don't have a case. It's ridiculous. It is unprofessional. The conduct by the district attorney's office, not the entire office. I mean, just the one lawyer, the main lawyer handling it has been ridiculous. The personal attacks. It's not a place. And thankfully, Judge Whitaker has stopped that. So at least she's now being fair and stopping the personal attacks. So, but it's still, forget the lawyers and the defendants. How about the jury sitting there for this amount of time? It's crazy. Who could do that? It's just, this isn't how it should be. This isn't how the criminal legal system should work. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but they're not going to get a conviction on Young Thug. I don't see that happening. If they even remember what the trial is about when this trial ends.
And that was kind of going to be my next question to you, is if you had a crystal ball, where do you see this trial kind of ending, and how long do you see that end in sight? Are we even near it at this point?
You know, look, I don't watch the trial every day or every week, but I get updates every day because my paralegal that do my work watches this trial nonstop. If she's watching TV right now, I don't mean that. But yeah, but you know, I'm close to a few of the lawyers in the trial. I mean, it's just every time I tune in, it doesn't seem like the state's making any points. Nothing lands. It's certainly not about Young Thug. I mean, nothing's, in my opinion, landing.
And given that you are kind of close to the defense attorneys, as much as you can tell us, what's kind of been their reaction to just everything that's been going on? I mean, I think we are in the 600 days of the trial, which is an extremely long amount of time. What's kind of been, if you can say, their reaction to kind of to dealing with something that's kind of unusual, maybe, to criminal defense attorneys with this trial?
I think they're bewildered that this case is trudging on this long, and they're grateful that there's a switch in judges because certainly the tenor has changed for them. They're not being treated poorly, right? Forget even the case, just as far as professionalism goes, it's certainly changed in the courtroom. There's somebody enforcing the rules of professional conduct. I mean, they don't know how long it's going to last. It's just endless. It's constant fighting over some legal issue, and it's just, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's really, I think they're sort of bewildered too and don't get it.
All right, Lauren Zimmerman, again, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Officials confirmed Karmen Bailey no longer works at the Fulton County Jail. She resigned from her position on August 27th, more than a month before her arrest. Online records show she's still behind bars. However, Melissa and Jeremiah Huey have bonded out. Reporting for Law&Crime, I'm Elizabeth Millner.